Did you know that more than 2,000 years ago, a man walked the dusty roads of ancient towns and villages, and wherever he went, something extraordinary happened. His name was Jesus. He didn't carry gold, an army, or a crown. Most days he simply walked with friends, spoke with ordinary people, and taught about love and faith. Yet in quiet moments, in front of surprised crowds, miracles began to unfold. One day, in a small town called Cana, a wedding celebration was in full swing. Music was playing, people were laughing, and everyone was enjoying the feast. But suddenly, the hosts faced an embarrassing problem. The wine had run out. Large stone jars filled with water stood nearby. Jesus simply blessed the water, and something remarkable happened. The water became wine, not just ordinary wine, but the best wine of the celebration. The servants were amazed. The guests kept celebrating, and quietly, the first miracle of Jesus had taken place. Sometime later, Jesus stood beside a large crowd that had followed him far from town. Thousands of people had gathered to hear him teach. The day grew long, and stomachs began to grow louder than the sermon. The disciples checked the food supply. 5 loaves of bread, 2 small fish, and thousands of hungry people. Jesus gave thanks for the food, and the bread and fish were shared. Somehow, the food kept multiplying. Piece after piece was passed along until everyone had eaten. Not only that, baskets of leftovers remained. Another day, the disciples were sailing across the Sea of Galilee. The sky darkened, the wind howled, and waves crashed. Then, in the distance, they saw something that made them blink twice. Someone was walking on the water. It was Jesus, calmly stepping across the waves as if the sea were a quiet path. The storm still roared, but his presence brought peace. The wind slowed, the waves settled, and the disciples grew calm. Not all miracles happened in large crowds. Some happened in quiet, deeply personal moments. Blind people began to see again. The sick were healed. People who had been suffering for years stood strong. One of the most astonishing moments happened outside a town called Bethany. A man named Lazarus had died. For 4 days his family and friends mourned. The tomb had already been sealed. Jesus called for the stone to be moved and prayed. Then he called Lazarus. To the amazement of everyone watching, Lazarus walked out of the tomb alive. But perhaps the greatest miracle of all came at the end. After teaching and healing, Jesus was crucified. But 3 days later, the tomb was empty. Jesus had risen from the dead. Fear turned into joy. Doubt turned into faith. And the story of hope spread across nations and generations. These miracles were signs of compassion, reminders that faith matters, and proof that even in the darkest moments, extraordinary things happen. And sometimes, the most amazing miracles begin in the simplest places. A wedding, a boat, or a piece of bread. Because when faith appears, even the impossible starts to look possible. And that, perhaps, is the greatest miracle of all.